Maybe make an order and take nominations for chair. Okay, start now.
Like to nominate Mr. Marlowe for chairman.
Need your nominations, please. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And vice chair? Do I get it easy? Nominations for vice chair? Nominations.
Give me a hook. Yeah, they can nominate you. Nominate Diane. Oh, that's.
Anything else, anybody? Move nomination cease. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All.
Okay, you do have, minutes before you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and second. Any questions about the minutes? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, public comment. Anybody got anything they want to say? Want to get started?
Yes, sir. I've got to leave and make my pain feel wearing on. I just want to ask a question. Is all the opioid money spoken for this year? Or, and if it's not, will it take next year's budget, or will it go on the needs list of if there was a request for some of it to be?
You need some for your sugar.
You got some. I got some, I just gotta go get
Don't tell Susie in the office because she gets all carried down about all that stuff.
Well-
So to answer your question, timely question. The packets, the date was, the close of the packet was, a few days ago. We have 11 applications. The 11 applications will go before the committee that's going to grade those. Then once those are graded, and they meet all the qualifications, they'll come to the budget committee next. Budget committee will approve those or not approve them, then go to county commission for full approval. We have 11 applications. There is, I don't think they're getting anywhere close to all the money that we have. Your question was, so then that opens up next year again, if that.
Well, let's have a request from someone, and I think it's actual, from the Cumberland Nursing School. One of the top state, maybe the top, in the top 3 nursing schools in the state. They would like to have some of this grant money to start a program there to help educate their nurses, because they're the ones who deal with these people before and afterwards and enduring. And so the educational level of it, they'd like to, they just making a request for.
So why don't you send me out and come see Susan in my office and she can go through the application and look at me. If there's a matrix that where they can qualify or don't qualify, she can help them through that and then we'll start the process.
Okay.
Okay?
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Phil got those names.
Yeah.
I tell him, yes, I know. He showed it.
Aaron, financial report?
Yeah, financial reports in your packet, that, second part that you might not recognize, according to Mr. Jones, is the, fund balance report. You might not have seen one of those for a few months. But that is in the packet now. I don't have anything in particular to point out. Property tax, bills have gone out, so, obviously we start receiving taxes in October. So, we'll start to see some more revenue flowing in from now through February, for sure. So that brings us to budget amendments. If you're ready.
Yes, sir.
All right, first one in there, the fire truck that we bought, we paid everything but 10%. The one that, we moved money from the, interest income in the general debt service fund, those fire trucks. Problem is that in the general fund where we had the money, when we closed the purchase, at the end of the year, we shut all purchase orders down, which means the purchase order that held the remaining 10% will also shut down. So we decided that we were better off moving that money over into the capital projects fund. So part of this is a transfer from the general fund over to the capital projects fund. To hold that 10% until they finish the fire trucks. That's what we're holding. It's basically retainage till they finish the fire trucks. The rest of it's already been paid for. Same thing with the 25-760. It was a truck body that was still, we closed the PO, should still be open, basically. And so we moved it over to 189 because we don't close those the same way.
So essentially it's the same dollars, just coming out of a different.
We've
fund.
just moved them to 189 and where they'll be held, we won't accidentally close them down like we did this year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Let's see, second one is, a grant for the election commission for $20,399.22. This is, part of the Help America Vote Act. So you're looking at 2,000 going into communications, 5,000 going into rentals, 5,000 going into other contracted services, and 8,399.22 into postage. Total grant amount is 20,399.22. The first two lines up at the top are the revenue lines coming into the budget. 1,019.96 is from the state. 19,379.26 is federal dollars coming through the state.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
The next one is, two things. One is the salary supplements for the commissioners, pay for the, meeting the education requirements, $600. Putting money into salary supplements. The second part is, Lauren has been working on a PDF searchable database of, all the county commission minute books, that we can get. I've talked to Mike Jennings about this as well. We both, recently I've had to find things like where the special purpose tax fund was set up, the auditors asked for. I was asked to find, when and where is the resolution where you split the victims assistance tax between CASA and the Child Advocacy Center. Stuff that very, very difficult to find. You don't even know where to start some of it. So, having a searchable database would be helpful to Mike. It'll be helpful to us in finance, and I think it'll be helpful to the commission as a whole. It's $11,400 is what we've been quoted as far as, what it would cost to take all the old minute books and scan them.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other comment or question?
Question, will it be accessible to the public?
Initially, I don't know. At the beginning, I'm not sure.
I think I can, go ahead and try to explore this with Lauren and Bobby and so just so you know, the last 6, 7, 8 months, the packet from the county commission, is on our website and it's searchable. And the reason we started doing it was because, ADA says I've got to do that by 2026. So we started doing that ahead of time. Lauren had looked at the books and the minutes upstairs and she started doing that for internal purposes. So it's easy to find and whatever. We talked to Sandra. Sandra says no problem with her. She's good to go because when somebody calls her and asks for something, she's going to get a hard copy. So whatever's there is good for internal services. So that piece is done. And then this group is that you're paying money for is could help do the work for her. Because we already record all of them on microfilm for Linda. That's done through Sonia every year. And then Commissioner Franklin had said, you know, what he would, because right now to look for something, you gotta be sure you're in the right packet if you get the PDF. What he was hoping was to maybe find a bigger project that he'd bring to you maybe later on, to where you put everything all under one. And that way, when you put the word in, it would search everything you got. That's a bigger project, and I think he's gonna bring that to us later on. That was his idea to do that. What Lauren's doing, she's going backwards, and we're gonna keep going forward, so hopefully that'll make a good mesh and make it easy for everybody.
So we're going digital pretty much, right?
Yes, sir. And then now, so the external part, the part of letting the public do it, the only conversations, and Lauren probably can speak to that better than I can, but Sandra just said to me, she said, you know, so if somebody in the public picks it up, you guys are okay because you understand what's going on and you know when one's been amended. But if the public picks it up, they may look and read one thing and just go off on that and not realize it was changed later on or it was different, you know, and most times when people are looking for that, they're having a reason to be doing that. So that was her only concern about making it external. Lauren, you want to add?
Sure. So what this actually is this is the full minute books. 1 through 196, which takes us back to probably the early 60s. So as of right now, if you need to find a resolution, you have to have a date to be able to actually start your research. If you don't have a date of it approximately when something passed, then I don't even know how you start. So, for example, when I was looking for 121 last week, I spent 5 hours in archives. The only reason why I had a start date is because in the mayor's office, they had a list of every time we had a sales tax referendum that gave me my date, and it still took me 5 hours. So this would actually, it's contracted with the same gentleman who does create the microfilm for the minute books, which the minute books are the official record of the county commission. So it's what Mike would use in court. So, and we don't have this accessible in PDF form at this point at all. So this would create the PDFs, and then I can build a database, which I've built one internally for packets right now. I've got it back to about 2010 or so. This again would take us back to the mid 60s. So it would allow us to take all the PDFs that'd be searchable, and you could actually search the entire database and just put in a couple words. And it would at least get you started as to where things are. From a public standpoint, this is going to be really large, like the database itself. So it might be difficult to put on the internet, but what we could do is you could put a computer in an archives, and then people could come into archives and actually search this database in archives.
They did the same thing in the dean's office, and that's since I started it. Scanning them till they just kept pulling back. It's wonderful.
I probably get one call a month from one of y'all saying, do you remember when we
Yeah.
did something? Yeah, I remember. I can't tell you what year or what month.
It's great.
Most time I miss it by about 5 years.
That's still a lot of looking.
Just the truth.
So, great work.
The different, got microfiche I heard, and then I've got her database, and are we gonna have all this on one platform?
It's like scanning it.
The microfilm is what is kept in the archive, so that's the official record along with what's on there. Because they're the gatekeepers, they're the ones that they're in charge of keeping all that stuff. What they're doing is making it usable for the rest of us.
The microfilm is non-negotiable. I tried that with the state, and it's none of my business, but microfilm is required. What we're talking about is, like I say, being able to find a resolution that passed back in December of 2012 or in May of 1972. You know, it's very difficult to run things down. Lauren's had to run a lot of things down lately, and she's done a great job, but it's not easy. And
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my vision eventually would be to build databases for like all resolutions. Because that would be a smaller database than these packs are basically the pack you'll get. And it's a lot, you start going back to 6 decades. But if you did it just in resolutions and minutes, you'd word search those, and then that little thing that spins while you're waiting and you're searching, you get tired, you go do something else, it'd be shorter. And so we could do that once it's scanned. Eventually, we can make this very user-friendly, where if you wanted to create a resolution, you could go back and you'd know if it's an amendment to a past resolution. There's no telling how many resolutions we've done over and over again. It's just no telling.
True. Yeah. So this basically would be step 1. So this would give us a PDF searchable format of every minute book we have. And each minute book is about 500 pages.
Is that what the committees too?
196.
Be committee minutes?
Oh, it's everything. So it's everything. So, I mean, and as I said, it goes all the way back. Like, I had to pull the original sales tax referendum and vote, which was from October of 1966.
Okay, was there a motion to approve?
There is, there's a second on table.
I think y'all passed
We
it.
did.
got a motion. Yeah, Tommy and Diane, y'all all voted for it.
No, we haven't voted on yet.
Well, my
It was-
notes
it was
said
up for
being
discussion.
voted for.
Yeah.
No, everybody voted. I'll change it if I need to. All in favor, say aye. All right, perfect. Yeah, I thought it.
the next one is just an amendment to the health department grant. It's a very large grant, but the only change, a budget amendment in front of that was the medical personnel portion of the grant was increased by 17,200. So
That's covered by the state.
Yes.
Reimbursed by the state.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Second.
So, hang on a second, is the motion to approve the budget amendment and the grant, or we're doing, we're gonna accept it?
I was just stating that it would be reimbursed from the state. So we can do them separate, want to do them separate, right?
Probably wouldn't, yeah. Okay.
So he's on the amendment, he's on the.
We're just on the budget amendment right here.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah, but we should.
I put them together because in my mind they go together, so that's my.
Tell me what's right. Yeah, just try. Who made the motion?
I did.
So the motion is to approve.
Budget amendment and the grant.
Okay.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You can pull the next one based on what happened to health and welfare early. Juvenile services, you've got a letter accompanying this that sort of explains the need, but they're requesting, 14,000, from the fund balance to be added to their travel line. For the SOAR program leaders for meetings and trainings that they must attend, and an increase in cases that require travel for the officers traveling back and forth from the child's home and school.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Roads is requesting 165,000 from their fund balance, to update the radio system from analog to digital. That includes installation, replacement of all radios, and it does go along with, the upgrade of the sheriff's department wing.
Didn't we use ARP money?
They use ARP for the,
For the system, correct?
for the system, yes, so.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, concerns? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
I got one thing. Hey, Betsy, hang one second. So, all this right here, this is coming out of our fund balance?
No,
No, coming out of theirs.
there's 131.
I'm talking juvenile.
Juvenile services coming out of ours, they don't have a fund balance.
So some of those restricted lines that we have, is it able to use any of those funds?
I don't think so. Not in this case, I don't think. I'll double check.
That's without a question. All right, thank you. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. There's money sitting in
There are.
court and those places, and I'm thinking.
Most of them are, yeah, but most of them are restricted for very specific purposes.
Yeah.
And none of it would do.
None of it would do that.
I bet, I just asked.
James.
See you, Chris.
Let me put that in there.
Chris,
Recuse himself. Recuse himself.
606.
Sir?
On the road department, on the camera, what we do about that?
Paying out of fund balance. We're asking the commission to pay for it.
I was talking about filming the meetings out there.
These, we voted on that money,
Yeah,
That was a vote that day.
do we have a,
I don't see it again.
we don't have it in there.
They didn't show later. Did that year.
Which part was it then?
We voted on the $4,000 to put the cameras in the road department. And we had a resident, we're supposed to bring it to the commission.
I just forgot all about it. I did, yeah.
Oh, you were there.
I'm not even sure I was there, to be honest.
he wasn't,
You weren't there.
Yeah.
We were in class.
he wasn't.
We were in class,
Oh,
okay.
He was there in spirit.
Yes, I was there in spirit. I was gonna say, I don't remember it, but I don't.
He was there.
Kind of a time when
Go in there.
Yeah, well,
I think,
Was it 3,800?
I think we'll still could be able to do it next month. Like, there's probably money enough in their budget that they could do the work and then we just backfill it unless, somebody don't want to pay for it. But that was the goal. The question, I guess, what's on the table is that, they want to record the road commission meetings at the road commission, and to do that, it's about $4,500 or whatever. And so they were asking for the commission to pay for that, since that was a request coming from us, to take it out of our fund balance, and that was what we were supposed to bring to you tonight. And they can have it done by the next road commission meeting, that way those can be videoed, as been requested by works here.
Who else is not videoing team? I thought we did something where we're supposed to be.
Everybody's on, if the road commission gets done, everybody be on board, ag committee is considering how they would do theirs, because there's just too many people to meet at the road commission. We looked at that, but he never knows where he's gonna meet, so he's working on that, it's gonna get back.
Come up here where it's free.
Why not move it here? We spent a fortune. for
It's
this
free.
room, so we
Either
can't-
here or there.
I thought we did. Didn't we go? Because that's why the sheriff comes over here as well, and also
He didn't
Joey.
want
and-
everybody going.
I get that, but I mean,
understand.
He was just asked, I mean, the sheriff said, hey, if you was asking about from the committees to do that, so that's what he did, but, I'll get with Josh and we'll find out. But that's what he was looking at.
it makes sense.
I mean, it's big folks spend any money to record a meeting out there, and then they have it up here. The road commission has records that they may need to access.
Right.
Rick might, it's hard to move them up here on. But, I mean, making, like we're making right now.
I'll get with them.
So we're gonna wait on the cameras, the resolution agreement.
I think they don't have time to wait. I think there's enough. I was just thinking that if everybody's.
If you wanted to do it, we could prepare the budget amendment, send it over to Mike in the morning. So, I mean, it's basically, I think, $4,500, and I'm not there, but what I've heard is it was $4,500 coming from the general fund balance. to Pay for the necessary equipment to record.
You
the
said-
Who said?
You, thought you said they had their money, or they thought they could find it.
How much road commission? Well, that's what we were talking
Oh,
about.
we won't wait.
We were talking about them doing that and splitting it with landfill and stormwater, but they said since a request was coming from the commission to do that, that they were asking the commission. So that,
And to answer that, it was like 3,800, but we added a couple 300 because she was a couple fees that they made to pay.
okay.
So it's not to exceed that. So does somebody want to make that form of a motion?
I'll make a motion. Not exceed what, $4,500?
I think that's what we said.
Make sure to purchase the cameras.
Purchase and install?
Yes.
That's what everything. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other questions or concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, tourism.
There was some, ARPA grant money left over from the Department of Tourism. If you look at the second page, that's the first page of the grant agreement. I'm about midway down where it says total. This is a $403,020.15 addition. So that's where you see the $403,021 going into advertising. The 23,000 is back a little bit farther. You go to, oh, I gotta find the right page. I'm just gonna take you to the, right here. I can't tell you what page it's on, but there's 23,000. Two different grants, 4 or 5 pages in.
Just flow through money, really.
It's just right, no match, just grant money coming in for the tourism.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the
Is
grant.
this pending?
Approving both of them.
Approving the grants and the budget amendment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because Aaron said they go together.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes we separate if we don't know what the budget amendment ultimately is gonna be, which we've had that case. But if we do, then, I mean, it may be better to approve them separately, but I always prepare if I'm presenting it to you, it makes more sense if I present the budget amendment and the grant together.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions?
Yeah, they didn't meet tonight, so they gotta meet again. They got a forward.
Yes, I'm so sorry. We were gonna pass this. I meant to mention that. Pending. They're gonna meet, the Monday night of the county commission meeting, probably at 6:30.
Okay, so the motion is approved pending.
Correct. I'm sorry about that.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next is a, list of, surplus property for WEMA. This is to be sold on gov deals, the items at the top under number 1.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
The next one is a budget amendment for WEMA for $46,000, which is to cover, coming from the Fund 118 fund balance, not the general fund balance, to cover the amount needed to purchase one new ambulance and one remount ambulance for the 24-25 fiscal year due to price increases.
Motion approved.
Second.
What's the 46,000?
That's money out of their fund balance to cover the additional money needed for a remount and a new ambulance.
We're putting up them all of them. Their motion.
You second. Yeah, we've already got first and second. We're just gonna vote.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next one, a few lines where our roster didn't match up with what we had, so we sat down with them and went through it. We actually wound up putting $50,533 back into fund balance when we got done. We've got the roster and the budget all matched up now, so that's what this does.
So move.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
WEMA's requesting to move money from 189 other salaries and wages to 123 guidance personnel. They are looking for someone to replace Mr. Cowan, who was their weather person. I forget the exact title, but the person who keeps an eye on forecasting when we might have severe storms and such.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any other questions or concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm gonna skip over to the rest of the surplus. That I think the next thing in your packet is an EMS financial hardship waiver. But we got more surplus items from WEMA. The top items that you can, most of them are going to county auction. There's a couple that say destroy. Everything below the dotted line on the second page is surplus for destruction. It's radios that are analog, not digital, so they're not usable or sellable.
Motion approved.
Any, was there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
List of surplus property from the clerk and master for sale at the top and then down below to destroy.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did Brian come? Yeah, Brian, you wanna?
Pass the updated one out. So EMA had passed this hardship policy, and we got to working with our billers because we wanted to have a trackable form of, anytime this is done, just so for record purposes. And under number 6, under the employee benefits, previously, again, passed by EMA, we were gonna do it after deductibles or co-pays. And then we got to looking and figuring like, we're never gonna know how much somebody's deductible is, have they met the deductible, how much is it, et cetera. So we double checked with our billing company, EMSMC, to say, hey, is it okay legally if we clean the slate, it goes to insurance, and whatever's left, we just write that off, which is what we was doing before, except we were excusing the deductible or not excusing it. And they said, yep, we have clients that do that all day long, that's not an issue whatsoever. So what we wanted to do is change that number 6 to just basically say, once it goes, if you're you're a county employee or you have county insurance, whether that's family or individual, then it goes to insurance, whatever you get a bill for, we as a county will write that off as an employee benefit. And we also put a maximum of 3 per year, just in case, if you got somebody that I say this might happen, but somebody's like, oh, they can get a free ride, you know, they may have to do that every day to get to the ER or something. So we did put a maximum of 3 claims per year on that, so. But that would be pending EMA committee. I think they're going to meet the 21st, and finance, I think, too, Aaron, to get that offset. So that was a change in that for that particular reason.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Last thing that I have is not in your packet. I apologize, but it was a request to buy from Buy Board. This is really nothing. Buy Board is another purchasing cooperative. Rutherford County buys from Mike. This is one that has Rutherford County's resolution, if it would be helpful to you as far as their Buy Board.
Oh, I ain't Brad. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Um,
Any opposed?
It's, Mr. John's turn. I can, hey, Aaron, really, here's my chair. Yes, I'll listen right here. Yes, it probably does. Let him go first and I'll come back. Thank you.
Good evening. Hey, everyone. Come on if I sit. Well, thanks for your time. A little bit something different for you this time. This is actually a request to modify a previously approved incentive. We know that's not something that we probably typically see. Certainly not something I've brought before you. But let me give you a little bit of background on this. So also something different. I know usually you get project code names. This time we can talk about the company, right? Because it's already been announced. So this was Project Eastbound. So that's Bridgetown Natural Foods, which we announced back in March, that had chosen our community for their first expansion outside of the location where they were founded. They produce high quality granola base that is the base for 5 of the 8 top selling granola products in the country. So they're excited about coming to Wilson County. You know, economic development recruitment projects have different lifespans. Some of them happen very quickly. Some of them take a while. In this instance, one of their major clients is large, well-known corporation that is involved in this project. They're going to actually own some of the equipment that's being utilized, and you know, they like most large corporations, you know, they sort of move at their own pace and on their own schedule, and when they're ready to do things. That's a little bit of how this project worked, I think. And actually, the office had been working this project for maybe a year or 18 months or so. Was a competitive project. There are multiple states. Ultimately, they selected Tennessee, selected Wilson County. But sort of what happened, I mean, in all, this was probably a 2 or 2.5 year recruitment project for the office from inception to announcement. And as we all know, as you all budget committee are dealing with, costs haven't gone up at all in the last 2 or 3 years, right? Like everything, prices on everything has dropped. So not quite the opposite, right? So costs have gone up, and also I think in some instances, equipment that they thought they would have used at the time that they were first talking about the project, there's newer models that have come along. They're a little bit more expensive. So really where we're at is they have begun to work on the project. They're updating all these figures, and they came back in and they said, hey, we're actually going to spend $27 million more than what we had proposed. So we had a conversation with them, and if I went back and we have our formula that looks at jobs, wages, investments, industry, all that sort of stuff. This project may have been something we might have considered based on this scope originally for maybe a little bit longer term. We're not we're not recommending that. We're not looking at anything there. We're basically just saying, what if we reran the numbers and looked at what their investment's actually gonna be, since it hasn't happened yet? Compared on the 3-year term that you all graciously approved previously. So what that yields is it takes their total investment, which and let me back up here and give you a little bit more context. So we originally gave them an incentive proposal letter, which is non-binding, but gives an idea for, what we think they would qualify for on June the 9th of 2023. And that was when they were kind of in their final decision-making process. You all approved the incentive that's currently on the books on September 7th of 2023. So that was over a year ago. We announced the project in March. So at that point in time, the figures that we have were that they would be making about $78 million of total investment. And that breakdown was about 15.5 in real, 62.5, a little bit more than that in personal property. So they are actually going to be investing over $100 million. So $105 million, $200,000. And the real property investment increased by about 7.5 million to 23.2. Personal property investment went up over almost 19 million. And that's from about 62.5 to over $81 million. So rerunning the numbers, what it came out to was increasing their incentive from what has been approved at just over $1 million, so $1,071,000 and some change, to not quite 1.5, so 1.475. So that's a differential of about $402,224 of an additional abated in property tax income over the 3-year term. But what that would yield is an additional $27 million in investment. And notably, I'll remind you that we required that they pay 10% of personal property tax. So since the bulk of the additional amount is actually in equipment, so that's going to be personal property taxes, under the currently approved incentive, they would pay $94,780 over 3 years that they would still pay. Approving this will actually increase that amount to, they'll pay $123,664 over that same 3 years. So that's an additional almost $30,000 in tax revenue that comes in over the 3-year term, even with this. I also asked them to look at jobs and wages, because we've seen wage inflation as well, right? So they came back and they had previously they committed to create at least 219 jobs. They're now comfortable committing that they're going to create at least 237 jobs. So it's about 18 more jobs. And wages also have risen. Originally, they had committed to $22.13 an hour. And now they're committing to $23.83 an hour. And the reality is this is the actuality of where they're at as they're actively kind of in the market hiring. So that takes the average starting wage from what was previously committed of just over $46,000 a year plus benefits to now we're looking at $49,566 annually for average starting wage. So that's about $1.70 per hour increase wage, or about a little over $3,500 a year. Based on the revisions. So, kind of bottom line again for, 27 million additional investment that'll go on the tax rolls in full in 3 years. The increment on that is abating about 400,000 over the life of the 3 years. So we feel like it's get 27.5 million for 400,000 is a good bang for our buck and return on investment there. So appreciate your. This was approved by JCDB Executive Committee unanimously at our most recent meeting on October 3rd. I believe it's October 3rd that date. So appreciate favorable recommendation for this incentive modification so that we can get them bonded and moving forward.
Is there a motion to approve the modification?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, Is there any new business?
I got, just a few things, not much.
Thank you.
Lagarda will be here this month to talk to us about their utility district stuff. Richard Jones, that used to be a commissioner, is on the Water Authority Board and asked that he give an update from his perspective as being a former commissioner, and receiving those funds. And
He's
so-
coming back.
Not gonna be a short time. But he had asked about doing that. October the 28th will be, I'll pass out the pay plan procedure manual. We'll get that out early to everybody, steering committee for sure, and full commission as well. And then so we'll go through that pay plan manual, let the steering committee do whatever they want to do to it, then send it on to finance for their approval, and on the county commission for final approval for it. I do have that resolution we passed about the county commissioner's pay. The issue there was, and I talked to Mike about this, on the resolution, it said that you would submit to me proof of your credits by October 1 of 2024. So that we only passed it on September the 16th. So I only had a few days there. So
That's the second time I fixed it. It ain't fixed right.
So I think it just should say June 30th. I mean, you've appropriated the money for anybody that gets it done in this year, so. And I started not to bring it up, but then I thought if I pay it, and the auditors come back and say, well, you're paying something after the resolution said you wasn't supposed to. I thought, well, I get in trouble for that, so.
So you're gonna pay for both years at one day, is what you're saying?
I think all he's saying is that you don't have to have it turned in by October first. Anytime that you turn your 24 credit in, or
Is it just past?
whatever year we're paying for, whatever they're paying for 2025.
We agreed to pay back, for 24 and then go forward with
Yes.
25. It was the motion that was made. That's what we recommended, by
So
Terry
the-
Curtis and the
so,
CTAS.
Right, so the October 1st thing would have been for last year,
For 24.
23, 24.
Mm-hmm.
We're in what, 25?
Yeah.
And then going forward, be
So-
24, 25 would be.
So do I need to go back and modify it to say October 1, 25 or 24, 25?
Actually, as long as it's for the year, and I'm thinking out loud, which is dangerous, but as long as it's for a year that we're gonna reimburse, why do we care if it's October 1st? Why not just sometime during that year? I mean, I don't care when.
What that date is when we recognize we're paying for each year.
Sounds like you have to own your own mayor if we couldn't get you.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I wouldn't say October 1st myself, because I don't care if they gave it to me in November, if it's for a reimbursable period. I don't care when you give it to me.
Yeah, I'm on the way that date came from our man here, but. So that was, you were trying to make a cutoff to separate the two,
I
correct?
was, and then the mayor talked to me about this, and he convinced me I screwed up.
And here we are.
That's not hard to do. He convinced me.
But if you're gonna try to get 2 years out of it.
I'm not gonna get to that, you're gonna get credit for the year, for what you done. You're gonna,
For last year, you're gonna get the credit for that.
Mhm.
Okay, that's fine. Then what about the people that earn it this year?
then you're gonna get it in the next, well, sometimes,
So we won't pay that the next fiscal year.
well, no.
If you're gonna pay this fiscal year, then you're gonna have to have $30,000 instead of 15, for example.
Well, it depends on how many.
Well,
It's
but
college.
we gotta be able to do both. I mean, if you're gonna do both, that's what we'd have to do.
I don't know how many done the training for 24.
I've already paid out 2, 3. I've already paid out 3. But I mean, I assume that if they all turn it in for last year and then they turn it in for this year, we only allotted, the budget amendment was 15,000, so we need to allot 30,000. I mean, I just didn't wanna, when they brought it to me, sign off, but that's what I did with the first 3. Sign off on something after October 1, and then the auditor come back and say, now, wait a minute, your resolution says October 1, and I've signed it off and we're paying afterwards. So that's why I thought it could extend the date.
Only said October
We'll be fighting on y'all.
I think, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I think the issue is the credits aren't due to CTAS until September thirtieth. As long as they're turned into CTAS by September thirtieth, then you've completed your requirement as for the comptroller's portion of it. I think that's where the confusion's coming in. And so, but we, as a county, I don't think we could have paid last year's until July first, because that's when I think the law took effect, is on July first. So it's even more confusing that what if you had your credits prior to July first, or you took them between July first forward, could you even pay? So I thought what we passed was going forward this year is when we're gonna pay, not backwards. I thought it was gonna be the 24-25 year.
The letter that I got from Rick Charlie and the CTAS attorney said they thought it was perfectly appropriate for it to pay for the fiscal year of 23-24. Because it was passed, I think, in April, wasn't it, Mike?
I don't know about that.
I had it, but I don't know if it's still there.
Right, mine either.
But I can get that reaffirmed, but the motion I made was the commissioners that had done the training, they would receive the pay for 24. And of course, going forward, you get it
But
for.
the problem with that is you have until September 30th to complete your training for 24.
And that's why he put
And
October
then-
first. So if you completed, all you had to have done was turn it in. by
Right, so
October
what Mayor's saying is then, right now, I've just completed my training for 25.
1st. Then it would-
So now I could submit both at the same time and get a $1,200 check.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said we need to get 30,000 instead of 15,000 in there. Yeah. Cause I didn't care. Me and Tommy argued about it for a
Well,
while.
you got a lot of-
We did, but that ain't no big deal. But I thought what I read and what I got from it was that we could pay you guys $600, and that was my hope. Pay you $600 for your credit, if you approved it. And we couldn't approve it until September 1, according to what this bill said. That's when they allowed us to do it, and that's why we did it in September. So whether we pay you for last year and this year, I'm good with either one. I don't mind that at all. So, good for paying the back part. I just couldn't pay you. I couldn't pay you without getting a resolution passed. I know that's a law. So I had to get the resolution passed, so I couldn't pay you till then. Now, paying you for the back was really up to you. I left that back in
From a
your court.
finance department perspective, my confusion is somebody's got till September 30 to complete the training.
Yeah, got the whole year.
It's October the 10th now. So they turn into me their 2024 training that they had till September the 30th to complete on October 10th. My resolution says they have to give it to me by October 1st.
That's right. Yeah,
That's my problem.
So we just need to move the date. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By how far?
Well, to me, you gotta give it to me in the fiscal year.
But you should have already, to get credit, you should have already completed it anyway.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is turn it in. If you can't turn it in,
That's why I would think Mike chose October 1st, right?
We followed the CTAS resolution. It's the one they sent out. And it made perfect sense to me until all of y'all started talking. And that's not being critical of y'all, that's being critical of me, okay?
But I think if we put the June 30th on there, we can pay you for last year's because we approved to pay it. And then if you do some work, you do 6 hours this year, I hope too. We pay you for 8 hours. We pay you $600 for this year too. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's easy.
Are you gonna have to do a resolution every year, or do you wanna set the date that whatever year you're in, this is the date you gotta meet it by? You don't wanna do one of those.
Say turn it in by the end of fiscal year.
Yeah, I mean, give me 8 hours for the fiscal year. We'll pay $600. We'll pay for last year and this year too. That's good for me. I'm happy with it. I don't have any
Hey,
issues.
somebody gotta
Make some more money.
We will have to come back and get some more money. If we run out of money, we'll come back and ask for money when that happens. Okay. Last thing I got, I hope.
Let me go back.
I'm down.
Okay, yeah. I just was trying to keep,
So we're not voting on anything tonight concerning them.
and give me your hours and we'll get you some money. Commissioner Smith asked me last month to get some new chairs for the commission out there. It's $6,045.47. Robert looked at those, got 35, if you guys want to do that. But we can get that done.
Is there any money gonna be left over from the birthday party from Jerry's?
We can take it out of health and welfare where you're not paying those people.
Hey,
to get
listen,
there.
I already cut it 50,000, let's, whatever. No number.
How much are those shares of beef? What's the?
We can get rid of these two.
Commission. 35 charges.
157.
That's not bad.
Yeah, 157. I think Robert found a decent deal on it. So I guess I just give that to you. You can consider it.
Straight back.
Because we don't have a resolution for it now, and bring it back next month or whatever. But we'll do it when you want, y'all wanna do it, we're ready to.
If we could do this, we could sell these. Good.
I don't know about those, where they don't have office people that want those or not.
Some of them, couldn't we find some of them in here?
Mine's good.
Probably could.
Well, mine's good too. I don't make it
It's
as
just-
far as that
Yeah.
goes, but I say they wanna buy all at one time. I mean,
That will match that.
Uniforming, I mean.
Unless you can sell
Adam,
more.
for how long we're
Yeah.
10 years.
Okay, I mean, we're not broke, we're.
I mean, you could just write a call.
Anything else?
Last thing. They're like you on a cruise. The last thing, is Sarah redid the books, and so we'll try to have some new books on your desk for kind of updating for, next time we have permission.
Good job.
Okay. I'm done.
Yeah, what I was gonna bring back was, we'll bring it next time, but just to fill you in real quick. WEMA has passed a policy, and that gets passed finance as well, basically, that, or it'll go before finance this month, hopefully. 3 years, if something has been with the collection agency for 3 years and they are not collecting any money on it, then at that point in time, they will write it off. The collection agency will write it off. Because basically, otherwise, it's just like hanging out there for 15, 20 years. So, I will bring the actual policy and we'll vote on it next down here.
Any other business need to come before the budget committee?
And I will try to schedule a finance meeting before the county commission meeting, so we can elect the chairman, so that way when they want to do something, they can do something. So we'll get that, we'll do that for 6:45.
Motion to adjourn.